Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 6th of Shawwal. You're now with me, Yusuf Shukri, for TVS Nightline. And here are the headlines for tonight. Illegal drugs worth 639,000 ringgit seized by police. Ginseng candy sold on LAZADA must be unshelved due to contamination with controlled substance. And our top story for tonight, Israel accuses Iran for inciting more chaos in the Middle East. Throwing stones in a glass house perfectly encapsulates Israel's accusation of Iran as the primary threat to peace in the Middle East. Israel called for sanctions on Iran at the United Nations Security Council soon after Iran launched a barrage of missiles and drones against it. And this is despite Israel being the initial aggressor after it struck an Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria on April 1st, killing 2 Iranian generals and 7 others. Iran retaliated by insisting that the Islamic Republic was only exercising its inherent right to self-defense, as its United Nations ambassador Amir Said Iravani said that they had no choice but to respond to Israel's attacks.
Faced with such circumstances, the Islamic Republic of Iran had no choice but to exercise its inherent right to self-defense under international law.
Up to this point, Tehran had avoided direct attacks on Israel, and both nations had chosen to confront each other indirectly by using proxies. However, on Saturday evening, Iran carried out its first direct attack on its long-standing adversary, Israel. Over 300 missiles and drones were launched, but the vast majority were intercepted by Israel, as well as by allies such as the United States, Jordan, and Britain. During the UN Security Council meeting, Iravani said in his speech that immediate and punitive actions must be taken to pressure Israel into halting the genocide against the Gazan population. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres appealed for restraint during the emergency meeting, emphasizing that neither the region nor the world can afford further escalation into war.
The Middle East is on the brink. The people of the region are confronting a real danger of a devastating, full-scale conflict. Now is the time to defuse and de-escalate. Now is the time for maximum restraint. Madam President, it's time to step back from the brink. It's vital to avoid any action that could lead to major military confrontations on multiple fronts in the Middle East. Civilians are already bearing the brunt and paying the highest price.
All this while, Israel has reaffirmed its determination to continue the assault on Gaza, launching numerous airstrikes overnight. Despite condemning and calling for restraint directed towards the Islamic Republic, the international community, especially G7 nations, persists in their double standards, choosing to overlook Israel's genocidal actions against Palestinians. On Saturday evening, Hamas announced that it had delivered its response to a ceasefire proposal presented by mediators from the US, Qatar, and Egypt during talks initiated in Cairo on April 7th. Hamas reiterated its previous demands, insisting on a permanent ceasefire and the withdrawal of Israeli military forces. Israel's Mossad intelligence agency interpreted this as a rejection of the proposal, accusing Hamas of exploiting tensions with Iran and seeking a broader escalation in the region. On Sunday, Iran launched over 300 drones and missiles at the Zionist regime, responding to the initial attack on April 1st by Israel, which killed 7 Iranian soldiers along with 2 generals, though the vast majority of Iran's barrage were intercepted with the help of the United States, Britain, as well as Jordan and others. After the attack, United States President Joe Biden reaffirmed the country's support for Israel, although a senior U.S. official said that Biden will not offer any military support to Israel against Iran. Meanwhile, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi cautioned Israel that any reckless retaliation would meet a much more decisive and stronger response. Now back home, e-commerce platform LAZADA has been instructed to delete all listings related to the advertising and sale of locally produced KINGU ginseng candy that contains tadalafil. According to the Health Ministry, the results of an investigation by the Food Safety and Quality Program showed that the product label did not comply with requirements under the Food Regulations 1985.
The removal order was due to the product having no name and address of the manufacturer, packager, distributor, and the rights holder for its manufacture and import. The ministry's statement follows media reports on the advisory issued by the Singapore Food Agency regarding the product. Tadalafil is used to treat erectile dysfunction, and medication containing tadalafil can only be prescribed by a doctor or obtained at the pharmacy with a doctor's prescription. Using tadalafil without the supervision of a doctor could result in serious health side effects, such as the loss of reduction of sight and hearing, severe low blood pressure that could lead to stroke or heart attack. The ministry urged traders, including those online who have stock of the product, to stop all sales immediately. Any party preparing or selling any food item containing harmful poisonous ingredients or ingredients that could adversely affect the health of those who consume it will be committing an offence under Section 13 of the Food Act 1983.
In an operation conducted at 10 p.m. last Friday in Miri, the Sarawak police reported the seizure of various types of drugs worth over 639,000 ringgit, an amount estimated to cater to approximately 85,000 drug addicts. Sarawak Police Commissioner Datuk Mancha Atta also said the police apprehended two men, aged 26 and 33, who were involved in drug trafficking and reportedly earned salaries of between 2,000 ringgit and 5,000 ringgit.
Mancha stated that the 26-year-old man was apprehended in front of an entertainment centre in Miri, where 31.73 grams of shabu drugs were confiscated. Acting on information provided by the suspect, the police team proceeded to arrest a 33-year-old man in a condominium. During this operation, a total of 16,197 grams of shabu, 198 grams of ketamine and 3,750 tablets of Aramine-5 were seized. According to Mancha, the ongoing investigations revealed that the first suspect had 4 prior criminal records, where the second suspect had 12 records, 6 of which were related to violations under the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 and 6 under the Penal Code. Both suspects are currently under investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. This section stipulates penalties, including the death penalty or life imprisonment. Moreover, if sentenced to imprisonment, they could also face up to 12 strokes of the whip.
The Governor of Sarawak, Tun Pehin Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, along with his wife, Tuan Sri Fauziah Muhammad Sanusi, arrived in Miri to continue their Hari Raya Aidilfitri visits to the open houses of representatives and Muslim community leaders on Monday. Their 6th day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri began with a visit to the residence of Temenggung Dato' Abdul Rahman Fazil in Piasa Jaya at around 11:30 a.m. The next visit was to the residence of the Deputy Health Minister of Malaysia, cum Member of Parliament for Sibuti, Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni in Bakam Road, Miri. Afterwards, they proceeded to the residence of the Deputy Minister of Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development, who is also Lambert Assemblyman, Datuk Dr. Ripin Lamat, at Airport Road for lunch. The visit concluded at the residence of the Deputy Minister of Women's Development, Children and Community Wellbeing Sarawak, cum Bekenu Assemblywoman, Datuk Rosie Yunus in Taman Bumiko. Also accompanying the visit were the Deputy Minister of Utilities and Telecommunications Sarawak, Datuk Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi and wife, and the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak, Datuk Sebastian Ting Chu Yu. In the afternoon, Tun Dr. Wan Junaidi and wife attended a family gathering at Pullman Hotel and then attended an Ideal Fitri reception organized by the Miri Malay Welfare Trust Board LAKMM at Mega Hotel. In addition to the governor, Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng and his wife, Datuk Amar Jumaani Tuanku Bujang, paid Hari Raya Ideal Fitri visits to several Sarawak ministers and dignitaries in Miri earlier today. They first went to an open house hosted by Deputy Minister of Youth, Sports and Entrepreneur Development, Datuk Dr. Ripin Lamat. And later on, the couple visited Deputy Minister for Women, Childhood and Development, Datuk Rosie Yunus, at her open house in Taman Bumiko. Among those in Abang Johari's entourage were State Transport Minister Datuk Sri Lee Kim Chin, Minister for Utility and Telecommunication Datuk Sri Julaihi Narawi, Deputy Minister for Public Health, Housing and Local Government Datuk Dr. Penguang Manggil, and Chief Political Secretary to the Premier, Fazruddin Abdul Rahman. In the afternoon, they continued their Raya visit to former Lambir MP Datuk Usop Sani Wahab before heading to Temenggung Datuk Abdul Rahman Fazail's residence at Piazza Jaya. And they concluded their visit at the residence of Federal Deputy Health Minister Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni at Jalan Sim Keng Hong Bakam. Now, at the Deputy Health Minister's residence, Puan Sri Datuk Amar Jumaani Tuanku Bujang also presented Raya packets to 33 orphans from the Hamidah Yaakob Welfare Complex. Now, the people are urged to store enough water to face the upcoming drought season. In Bekanu, Deputy Minister of Women, Children and Community Wellbeing Development Datuk Rosie Yunus hopes that the residents of 112 villages and longhouses heed the precaution so that their daily activities are not affected. She has also proposed to relevant agencies, including the District Office and the Welfare Department, to assist those who face difficulties during the season.
Kerana ada tempat kita masih agak sukar untuk agak kedudukannya agak jauh sedikit dan kita khawatir nanti akan berhadapan dengan masalah air, bekalan air ya. Maksudnya mungkin akan berlaku persatuan air. Jadi maknanya kita akan menghadapi masalah lah dari segi bekalan air nanti. Jadi yang pertama saya ingin mengingatkan masyarakat kita, takungan air perlu ada sekarang ini ya, bersedia untuk menghadapi.
Rosie, who is also Bekanu Assemblywoman, reminded the people to not conduct any open burnings as they can quickly and uncontrollably turn into bigger fires due to the dry weather and strong winds.
Sebab kita takut kalau kita bakar kecil-kecil dulu dan kita tidak jaga, ianya akan melarat, tambahan lagi dengan angin yang kencang nanti, ianya akan melarat.
She spoke to the media at her Ideal Fitri open house on Monday, attended by the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, and wife, Puan Sri Datuk Amar Jumaani Tuanku Bujang, Minister of Transport, Datuk Sri Lee Kim Chin, and Minister of Utility and Telecommunication, Datuk Sri Julaihi Narawi, among others. A television unit was donated by a clinic to National Secondary School SMK Bandar Bintulu to assist in providing interactive learning to students. State Legislative Assembly for Tanjung Batu, Johnny Pang, stated that the contribution aims to enhance the quality of digital teaching and learning in schools in line with the School Transformation Program 2025 or TS25. Therefore, he hopes that more companies will join in providing the necessary assistance to schools around Bintulu.
As you know, now teaching we are using online, so they need a good TV system to be installed in the class. Of course, this is not enough. So I think ASWA take a good initiative as a public company, and then they do CSR for the school. And I hope the other investor or company who are having a business industry in Bintulu, I think you need to do ASWA, you need to do CSR to help the school, the future of the student.
He was speaking to reporters after witnessing the brief handover ceremony of the TV set to SMK Bandar Bintulu at I Smile Meridian in Bintulu on Monday. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Parent Teacher Association PIBG of SMK Bandar Bintulu, Edwin Wong, also expressed gratitude for the donation and hopes that more third parties will be aware of the importance of such facilities in schools.
I wish that everybody be more forward thinking in terms of helping out a school that is still lacking a lot of facilities.
Now, Swinburne Sarawak clinched victory in the recent Global Data Challenge hosted by the United Kingdom's Alan Turing Institute, positioning it as a leader in data science and analytics in the region. Swinburne academics from the School of Information and Communication Technologies, Dr. Miko Chang Mei Lee and Dr. Vong Wan Tze, as well as a third team member representing the industry, Ryan Chua, emerged as grand champions out of the 25 finalist teams representing 20 countries.
According to Dr. Miko Chang, the program fosters appreciation, collaboration and shared knowledge within the AI research community. As global champions, Dr. Chang and Dr. Vong earned a fully sponsored trip to visit the Alan Turing Institute's office in London. During their visit from 16 to 24 March recently, they also participated in and presented their work at AI UK 2024, the UK's annual national showcase on data science and artificial intelligence research and innovation. Meanwhile, Professor Patrick Then Yang Hui, head of the School of Information and Communications Technologies, highlighted that the victory places the university at the forefront of the realm of data science and advanced analytics. The Global Data Challenge, organized by Dr. Oman Guerrero, head of Computational Social Science in the Institute's Public Policy Program, attracted participants from around the world. Teams were to tackle challenges using open spending data, development indicators, and a newly released web-based modeling app for the policy priority inference.
KLIA shooting suspect arrested in Kelantan and 4 wounded in Sydney church stabbing. All that and more right here on TVS Nightline. Don't you go anywhere. Thank you for staying with us. Now, a man has been arrested in Kota Baru, Kelantan over the shooting incident at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA Terminal 1 yesterday. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said the 38-year-old suspect was arrested at about 3 p.m. today. He said the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department CID Director or the Kelantan Police Chief would hold a press conference on the arrest soon. In the 1:20 a.m. incident, a man fired 2 shots at his wife at the entrance of the arrival hall but missed, and 1 shot hit her bodyguard in the abdomen instead. The bodyguard was admitted to hospital and reported to be in stable condition. Police had earlier said that they were looking for Hafizul Harawi to assist in the investigation into the case. Security measures at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport will be improved to increase surveillance efficiency, especially concerning members of the public who enter the country with prohibited items. According to Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan, several of these measures include the use of electric scooters and the installation of scanners that can detect items such as firecrackers and weapons. Hussein said the police had planned to utilize electric scooters at the beginning of the year, and the proposal was approved by Selangor's state government. This method will enable police to patrol the airport's vicinity more efficiently in terms of area coverage and time. Touching on the scanners, he said the equipment is vital to prevent criminal incidents such as the recent shooting at KLIA Terminal 1. Hussein explained that the police cannot take action on individuals who are caught carrying firecrackers because it is a public space. This is due to the different division of area, the airside and land side. Under current airport security policy, people can enter the terminal area without strict controls, unlike other countries that have scanners. Other recommendations, he said, include closing the corridors near the gate of the arrival and departure halls. He said the vehicle parking lane close to the arrivals and departures gates also exposed the airport to high risk, as individuals could park their cars and enter the airport easily. Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong will step down next month and his deputy Lawrence Wong will take over. The 51-year-old will succeed Lee on May 15th, making him just the second non-member of Singapore's founding family in nearly 6 decades to lead the city-state. Wong, who is also the finance minister, was chosen as Lee's heir apparent in 2022 from a new generation of lawmakers from the People's Action Party, PAP, which has ruled uninterrupted since independence in 1965.
The US-educated economist is widely seen as a social media-savvy stalwart who effectively handled the COVID-19 crisis when he oversaw the government's pandemic task force. The city-state was one of the first in Asia to quickly get back in the saddle as the pandemic eased in 2022, with the business and tourism numbers picking up. Outgoing Premier Lee's father, Lee Kuan Yew, was Singapore's first Prime Minister when it became a sovereign nation after a brief unsuccessful union with Malaysia. In 1990, the elder Lee handed power to his deputy, former shipping executive Goh Chok Tong, who was initially considered a seat warmer for the patriarch's son. Goh, however, stayed on for 14 years before the younger Lee took over in 2004. A general election has to be called by November 2025, but there is a speculation it could take place this year.
Welcome back. 4 people are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries after a stabbing at a live-streamed church service in Sydney earlier today, the latest knife attack to rock the city. Australian police said they had arrested 1 man after a member of the congregation at an Assyrian church rushed at the dais and slashed at the bishop, causing pandemonium.
Amid the panic and screams, several churchgoers rushed to safety while others tried to subdue the attacker. The ambulance service said that 4 men aged between 20 and 70 were being treated for injuries, including lacerations. Police added that the injured individuals suffered non-life-threatening injuries and were treated by New South Wales ambulance paramedics before being conveyed to hospital. The incident came 2 days after a man with a knife killed 6 at a shopping mall in the east of Sydney. The neighbourhood is a hub for Sydney's small Christian Assyrian community, many of whom fled persecution and a war in Iraq and Syria. There were tense scenes outside the church after the attack, with hundreds of members of the local community trying to make their way past a phalanx of riot police to reach the suspect.
Wrapping up the Nightline, French President Emmanuel Macron said earlier today the Paris Olympics opening ceremony could move from the River Seine to the National Stadium in the event of a security threat. Macron said instead of teams sailing down the Seine on barges, the ceremony could be limited to the Trocadero building across the river from the Eiffel Tower or even move to the Stade de France. Macron also said he would do everything possible to have an Olympic truce during the Games.
Quand les armes se taisent, vous devez renégocier et donc vous devez vous retrouver autour de la table avec ceux contre lesquels vous avez combattu. Et donc c'est aussi en cela que l'olympisme apporte d'un point de vue diplomatique beaucoup de choses. Et au-delà de l'expérience très humaine que David Douillet vient de décrire, on va aussi tout faire pour avoir une trêve olympique.
The truce is an historic tradition that peace reigns during the Olympics. The Paris organizers have devised a ceremony that is unprecedented in Olympic history as it breaks from the tradition of the Games opening in the main stadium. But with the Olympics taking part with war raging in Ukraine and in Gaza, the ceremony also leaves teams potentially vulnerable to attack. French authorities have, for example, mentioned the possibility of an attack by drone. So far, organizers have denied the ceremony on July 26 could be moved to a different venue if authorities believe there is a possibility it will be targeted. Moving the ceremony from the Seine would be a huge undertaking and would deprive the Paris Olympics of their defining image. More than 300,000 spectators are expected to be present for the ceremony, with another 200,000 watching from buildings along the Seine. So far, all countries have said they plan to take part in the open-air river parade, including the most risk-averse, such as the United States and Israel. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvsarawak.my or by following us on our social media platforms. It's alias TV Sarawak. And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. Once again, I'm Yusuf Shukri. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Assalamualaikum and Selamat Hari Raya. Maaf Zahir dan Batin.